Hello and welcome into the locker room. I'm Tino, and joining me today is men's soccer player Stefan Mason. Stefan, how's it going today?
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Tino. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. So first off, to kick things off here, as we all know, fall sports are canceled here at Hofstra for this season and throughout the CAA. What were your thoughts when you first heard the news, being a fall athlete yourself?
I was first of all, I was gutted. I'm going to be playing in the championship, so I was like, it's been so long since we played and stuff over the whole quarantine. But then my second instincts kind of were maybe it's actually a good thing. Like we have a long time to train and get to know everyone on the pitch. So I kind of think that it's definitely for the best what has happened. It would have been probably a very rushed season and stuff like that. It wouldn't have been the same as it was. Maybe it won't be the same in the spring either. But I'm pretty sure that it's for the best, to be honest.
You mentioned getting to know the guys on the team now. You actually have 14 new freshmen joining yourself on the squad this year. So what has that process been like, getting to know the new guys with these current restrictions of COVID-19?
Well, I have met most of them. They seem like because we have two sort of houses with the soccer team. So obviously you can meet them. It's a bit different. You can't go up to them, hug them, or like what you usually would. But you can meet them. You can have a chat with them. And yeah, they seem like a very nice new bunch of people. So yeah, it's been nice. I mean, that's what I love about here. To be honest, you always meet like loads of new people all the time. And yeah, they seem like a good bunch of lads.
You mentioned you're living in the soccer house with those guys. What is that experience like? Getting to live with your teammates and anything like that. Like, have you ever had an experience like that where you got to be with the group of guys that you're playing with, on game day?
Yeah. No, I haven't had that experience actually. Before, when I was in England, when I was playing for Warsaw and Wolves, you kind of you're with the people every single day because you're training with them, but then you go home to your house like every evening and stuff. So it's a different experience than coming here and training with people and actually living with them. I absolutely love it, to be honest. The freedom involved with it, like just being with the guys all the time, I think is an amazing experience, really.
Now, last season, you played in 17 games as a freshman. That's pretty impressive, I think. But looking back at that season now, to this year, which is almost a year ago, how much experience do you feel you have gained with that full year of, getting to play on the team and now being a sophomore?
Yeah, I think it was definitely a lot of valuable experience, to be honest. Because before I came here, I didn't really know loads about how the whole college NCAA system worked with the playoffs and overtime, etc. So going through all those things, and then obviously it was absolutely gutting losing in a penalty shootout, taking a penalty in a penalty shootout, all those things adding up have given me a lot of experience, which I think, although I thought that, so I was quite old as a freshman coming in last year. I was 19, turning 20, because I took a year out when I was at home to play. So although I thought I had a lot of experience, you can't. It's nothing compared to the experience that you actually gain when you're actually playing in college. Like it's a different animal, I think. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of valuable experience.
Now, you mentioned as well how tough it was to lose like that. How are you able to get over that feeling, and how are you able to move on from the loss that you guys ultimately had to, that ended your season?
Um, it was really, really difficult, I've got to admit, because we all felt, and I think the common consensus was that was one of the best games that we played in the whole season. We passed the ball better than we did most of the season. But that's football. That's soccer. Sorry. That's how it goes. Sometimes you don't always win when you think you should, and losing on penalties is the worst way to go out because it's like a 50-50. But how I got over it, to be honest, you get over it thinking, well, me personally, I got over it thinking, well, it fires me up a little bit more for next season, to be honest. Which obviously is a change now, but we didn't know that. But yeah, I think just thinking, come on, next season we'll be back stronger.
Right. And now here on the locker room, we really want to go beneath the surface and really take a look at your lifestyle aside from sports. Moving away from there, you're from the United Kingdom. How much different is it there from here in the United States, at least that you've seen so far?
Yeah, it is. It is very different in the UK to the United States. Hard to explain the different aspects of it. I just think the people are very different. I think maybe in the UK we're a little bit more cynical about things. I think a little bit more sarcastic. And then I don't know. It's hard. It is hard to describe. Obviously, the soccer is quite. It's quite different. Like with it's unique in the US with the overtimes and the the playoffs and things like that. That is very interesting. Trying to think now what else is different. And then obviously the way you talk is little things is very. Another thing that is great on our team is the different nationalities that we have here. So although I would say, it's so different moving to England to America, at least, which is the main thing, is that I speak the same language. There's so many people on our team that are from, Germany or the Scandinavia and places where English isn't even their first language, and they still adapt so well. I think that's really cool, actually.
That experience like for you, playing with a diverse group of guys here at Hofstra, has it, because when you were playing in the UK, did you have something like that, or was it just everyone from the same group and same feel?
It wasn't anywhere near this level. Like when I was coming towards like my older years, when I was playing, we would have a lot of trialists in from America and Canada, and you could get people from Ireland and stuff, or the odd person would come from maybe in Warsaw. In the end, we actually had quite a lot of African players come in on trial, but nothing compared to this. Like so many different nationalities, etc. It was mainly people who were from like the West Midlands, which is where I'm from in England.
And now, is that harder, you think? Because if you can't communicate with them, as good as you would someone who speaks the same language, is there still chemistry there when you're playing on the field?
I think we're lucky because the international guys that we've got are all extremely, clever, and they all care a lot. So they all speak excellent English, I've got to say. So it's never a point where you think there's a lack of communication. In my opinion, never. It's just I think it's really good because you just are with different cultures all the time. So yeah, it's never. I never feel like I can miscommunicate with anyone really.
Mm-hmm. And now going back to your time in the UK, you took part in biking 250 kilometers across England for charity. What was that like, and what made you take part in such a great thing like that?
So yeah, that was in my high school. So I think I was about 15 when I did that. And it's kind of they said 1 year. So we're setting up it's called C to C, the ride is, because it's coast to coast. So you go from one side of England to the other side of England. And they just set it up, and my dad is like a big cycling fan. So so I thought, so when they set it up, I thought, oh, this will be like a good idea. And then you go on trials to see if you can actually like cycle well enough and do like the safety procedures well enough. And then I just thought it was a great idea to do for, because we raised, I can't remember how much we raised as well, but each person raised, I think it was at least like £250 each for charity as well, and there were 8 of us that did it, so that's £2,000. So yeah, it was for a great cause, and we did it over the space of like, I think it was 4 days, and it was such a fun experience to do. Like cycling, being really hard and sort of grinding with your mates. It was an unbelievable experience actually.
Given the opportunity, would you ever do something like that again?
Yeah, I'd love to do something like that with the team. Actually, that would be a great idea if we did some kind of cycle or run or something for charity as with some of the members of the team. That's a great idea actually.
Now, along with the cycling, I know you also have raised money for local food banks to purchase toys for underprivileged children. So what's your motivation behind all this, good charitable work that you're doing? What really, motivates you to help and give back to your community?
So when I was in school, I got nominated to be head boy when I was in my high school. So with that came came with things like doing that, for example. So over Christmas we would raise money when we went to the church and the service and stuff like that. And then as head boy and some of the senior pupils, they were called, we would go off to some stores and purchase like toys and stuff, and then we'd go out and give them to underprivileged people in the community. Again, it was another great thing to do, and it was a little bit. To be honest, the schools should take the credit for that, because they organised doing it. It was kind of like, it was just us being the ones who sort of did the bidding almost. But yeah, the school did most of the organising. But yeah, it was a great thing to do, I thought.
And you mentioned you were head boy as well. I'm not really sure what that entails. So can you explain a little bit more to our listeners or viewers out there what that aspect of life was like in your life?
Yeah, so head boys, I think, yeah, that's obviously a British thing, I think. Each high school, so you finish high school when you're 16 in England, and then you go on to do your A levels, which is like a harder version of like what you do in high school for 2 years, and you specialize in your subjects to then go to university. But yeah, so from in your last year in high school, you like put yourself forward to become head boy or a senior pupil, which is 8 people in the school, 4 girls and 4 boys, are then sort of not in charge, but help like run certain events and help decide things. It sounded kind of like a little bit of a like head of the class kind of thing. And yeah, so you put yourself forward, then you get voted by your peers, and the top 16 people in the year get voted, and then you go into interviews with like the head teacher and the old head boy and head girl and stuff like that, and then they nominate you to be head boy or senior pupil. And so yeah, I was very happy to become head boy, and it was good for me because you got to do a lot of like speeches and stuff in front of large audiences, and so I'm actually taking public speaking at the moment, so I need to remember the stuff that I did. Yeah, it was. I loved being head boy, to be honest, and I know it was a very proud moment when I became head boy. Yeah.
And now, you mentioned obviously all of your experiences there in the UK, being head boy, being a leader, giving back to your community there. Were you able to take all that, all those things and bring it here to America and this team? And has those instances help you become a leader on this team? Does your experiences there really to make it easier for you to come to the United States and just be yourself and be, step to the front and be a leader?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's when I first came here, I was expecting it to be really hard to, get to know people and stuff. That was the main thing I was worried about before I came here. Was am I gonna get to know the lads and stuff? Am I gonna like everyone? But what made it easier to like try and be a leader and stuff like that is that straight away you're thrown in with all the boys and you're immediately friends with everyone. And when you're immediately friends with everyone, it becomes a lot easier to try and be a leader on the pitch and stuff like that. Yeah, and wherever team that I think that I've been in, I think that you can always try and be a bit of a leader on the pitch, no matter whether you're new or anything like that. You can demand things off your teammates, and then you can also try and lead by example. I think is the main thing. No matter how new you are or anything like that, I think that's I think you should do that.
Continuing on now with the sports side of things here, one last question for you, Stefan. When you step back foot on that field for the Hofstra Pride, what are you most excited for to get to do and get to play with your team again? What are you most excited for in the aspect of soccer?
Yeah, we were discussing that yesterday. Actually, we were discussing. I think me and Joe Wright, another English guy on the team, we were talking about how we even miss going into the change room and just getting ready, putting your socks on, and just little things like that we even miss. But I think the main thing that I miss is just the competition involved in when you play. I love the competition and the pressure when you're playing, the training. I also loved going on away games and stuff like that. It was so much fun in the season when you go off and stay in a hotel and be with all the boys and prepare properly for a game the day after. Yeah, the main thing is just the sheer competition. When you're playing in the CAA and the playoffs and stuff like that, I love that, and I love the sort of the ferocity and everything. That's my main thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Stefan, and talking with me. I know I'm super excited to see you play again. We don't know when that will be, but I'm definitely going to stay tuned, and I'm glad we're able to get to know a little bit more about you, what you did to your community, how you impacted them in a positive way over there in the UK. So thanks again.
Nice one. Thank you, Tino. Appreciate that. See you later.